Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Lots to discuss today. Could be Jadon Sancho day. We'll talk about that. Jesse Lingard, the plot thickens. West Ham feel they've been outpriced by United as they look to secure Lingard's value and give him a new contract. Weird or not, we'll talk about that because apparently some people within the club agree and disagree with that. Also, Marcus Rashford's big injury blow. But we're going to start off with talking about Manchester United's desire to bring in a third significant signing this summer. Now, you'll see Declan Rice on the thumbnail because the reality is we don't actually know who this third signing would be. We'll also be talking about Varane, Koundé, and a change of story from Romano from when he was on the show yesterday evening saying Tellez Roma no. He's now saying Tellez Roma maybe. So we'll talk about that as well. Absolutely lots to get into. I mean, the Marcus Rashford injury is quite... In fact, should we start on the Rashford injury? Because there's two big stories to start here with. No, let's do the third. We'll talk about Rashford. It's a big story, but we'll talk about this first. So this is coming in from the Manchester Evening News that Manchester United are targeting a third significant signing this summer after Sancho and hopefully Varane, and that Manchester United are open to bring in a midfielder in. Now, who this could be, who this third significant signing could be, we don't know, but it certainly would be a welcome signing if it was a midfielder. So Manchester United looking at overarchingly bringing in three big signings. We know Heaton's here. He came in as a free signing. But Sancho, Varane, if we get Varane, and then another signing as well. Who could that be? Well, look, I think we all hope it's a midfielder. But if you watched the show yesterday, we've got a lot of deadwood in this squad. I mean, the third significant signing could be a backup right back and it could be Kieran Trippier. I hope it's going to be a right back. If it's going to be Declan Rice, I think West Ham are open to doing that deal. A lot of people will start saying, well, we want Camavinga, and maybe it can be Camavinga, although we're going to have to wait a few weeks on him, and he's certainly very good value for money. And I think, you know, if I said to you, would you rather have Camavinga or Rice, which one would you go for? But I do think that Manchester United are big admirers of Declan Rice, and the thing about Manchester United is when they get their teeth into something, they don't really let go. And, you know, they've wanted Varane for a very long time, a decade basically. They've wanted Sancho for about 4 years. They spent a long time getting Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka and Bruno Fernandes. These were long-term targets. So, look, keep your eye on Declan Rice. I mean, I still don't understand why, if West Ham want Lingard and we want Declan Rice, something can't be done there. It doesn't even need to be a swap. It doesn't have to be a swap. People get lost in a swap. How's about we'll give you West Ham for 25 million if you give us Rice for 65. It doesn't have to be a technical swap. There are, we're talking to the same people. They don't want a swap deal. I tell you what then, let's not do a swap deal. Jesse, it's not a swap deal. It's not a swap deal, Declan. We're selling you to West Ham and we're buying Rice. But it's not a swap deal. You know, there's many different ways you could work it. But I think that ultimately, obviously Declan Rice, I think, would prefer to go to Chelsea. We know that. And 70 million, 80 million, 65 million for Declan Rice is a lot of money that I don't think United want to pay. But I do think he would be perfect for what we want. And at the moment, we don't know who that third significant signing could be. But definitely open to bringing in another signing after Varane and Sancho, Manchester United. And look, yeah, it could end up being Trippier. But I don't count that as a third significant signing. If Kieran Trippier comes in, I don't count that as a third significant signing. I count that as a backup right back that we don't actually need. We've got Dalot, we don't actually need Trippier, and I don't think he's a third significant signing. I think for me, I said it at the start of the summer, I'll say it again, if we're going to judge this summer as a success, you've got to resolve the Pogba situation in a situation that is a positive for United, which is not him running down his contract. And you've got to bring in a centre defensive midfielder because that's effectively what we need to bring into the club. So, you know, that's where we are on that. Can't really say who this third significant signing is, and I think we're all very focused on Varane. Who can I just say on Varane as well? Very confident that this deal is going to happen. No major updates this morning on Varane, but very confident it's going to happen. There has been talk from the Athletic, an Athletic reporter in Spain, I think actually in Madrid, saying that informal interest from Manchester City and Chelsea. But I would... How long ago was that interest? Is it this morning interest from Chelsea and Man City? Have they always been interested? The reality is, people close to this deal are saying Manchester United will get this deal done. And that's where I am this morning. And that's why I'm 90% sure that we'll get Varane. That can change. Of course it can change. But I am very confident on that. Sanjeet says Calvin Phillips, a few rumours starting. Not heard anything on that. But, I think I would take Calvin Phillips now. I'd take him this morning over Rice and McTominay because he actually can play that role. Let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Have to talk about Marcus Rashford. This came out last night from the Telegraph, James Ducker, that Marcus Rashford is going to be out until October. He's going to be having an operation on his shoulder. He can't have the operation till the end of the month. We'll talk about why in a minute. But he will miss 2 months. So he'll miss August and September with recovery from this shoulder injury. I don't know where anybody else is on this, but I actually feel happy. And people go, oh my God, he's happy that... No, it's not about that. It's not. I don't want Marcus Rashford out the United team. I think he's one of our best players, and I think he's a huge part of what United is. Thank you for the contribution, Swiss Fool. And it won't be a midfielder. Ollie loves McFred, says Tabres. And but I just think this is the right thing for Marcus Rashford. He has openly said that he's been carrying an injury for a year. I can't make any more excuses, and Marcus can't make any more excuses, and those of us who like Rashford can't make any more excuses for him, because he's going to continue to get the stick that he's been getting. I'm not talking about what's going on with England. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. But even United fans have been calling him Trashford and this, that and the other for the last year or so. And some people don't even believe he's injured. Some people think it's an excuse. So look, I'm not here to say Rashford's playing not very well because of his shoulder or his ankle. I think that's the case. That's my stance on it. But I'm not going to say that those people who think he's just playing badly and he's using it as an excuse. Let them think that. The point I would say is it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter whether you think he's not playing well because he's injured, or it doesn't matter whether you think he's just playing badly and the injury is not impacting on him. The point is we won't get the proof until he's had the operation. So to me, that's the positive, is that we get back 100% Marcus Rashford, and then there can be no excuses. He just goes and delivers, which I think he will do. But if he didn't have that operation and started the season like he started last season, then we know he's always going to be carrying this injury. So, there's also talk about his ankle. He's always spoken about Marcus Rashford's shoulder, but we know he had issues with his ankle as well. I just think operation on your shoulder, 2 months of not playing football, recharge the batteries. He's still in his early 20s. Perfect. He's had a really good career to this point. Take a bit of a time out. And the people say, well, he had a bit of a time out at the start of last year when he did his back. Did he come back too soon? I don't know. But I think this is the right thing. And of course, there are England internationals at the start of September that he'll miss as well. So it's a mature, clever and right decision from Rashford, Manchester United, and I'm sure Southgate's been involved as well, for Marcus Rashford to take 2 months out of what's going to be a very long and successful career, hopefully, and recharge the batteries. And I think it's a positive. And I'm not worried about it. We've got quality players. People will say, well, Martial can play off the left. Yes, he can. You could use Amad Diallo. You could use Sancho off the left. Maybe this is why they're going to think about keeping Lingard, which I think is not the right thing to do, because you've still got Dan James at the club as well. So we've still got options without keeping Lingard, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, it is an injury blow for Rashford, but I think if you know the bigger picture, it's not an injury bro. It is an injury bro. It's not. It is an injury bro, and it is an injury blow. But it's not a shock, is it? And I think most United fans know this needs to happen. There's no... We ain't playing FIFA where you go and get the boost button to get rid of any injury and he's fine tomorrow. He's going to need some rest and recuperation and surgery. And I think the surgery at the end of the month, which is still 2 weeks away, is probably to allow him to go and have a holiday. Somebody said it's because the surgeon who's going to do it can't do it till the end of the month because he's fully booked. I don't think there's a surgeon in the world that Man United couldn't get to do an operation tomorrow if they wanted to. So I would imagine it's more about Rashford going having a little bit of a holiday, because once he's had his shoulder operation, going on holiday with that recovery is probably a bit painful. Why not Bellerin as a backup right back, says Rafi. Go and wash your mouth out with soap and water, Rafi. You're talking absolute shit. Bellerin as a backup right back. My God. James Breen, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Thank you very much. And I never get to watch live because of my work schedule, but if you were the captain of the Titanic, it wouldn't have sunk, and you're the captain here, says Edgar. Oh, all right. Thank you very much, Edgar. Thanks for that. There's a tweet on Madrid's own Twitter that I just need to read out as well. Somebody's just told me about that. But yeah, we'll move on from Rashford, but he is out. Let me just say I'm wearing my Sancho t-shirt. If you want to get one, your link's in the video description for that. Will it be announced today? As I said to you last night, I have got to say that we are in a situation whereby we don't know when Sancho's going to be announced. The new kit is being launched tomorrow. Decent people have told me it'll be tomorrow. I still think it could be today. And I think United like to do things around 5-6 o'clock. So maybe we'll do it today. But if we're doing it tomorrow, it is totally because of the new kit. And don't forget about it, because he's done the medical, he's done the interview, he's done the promo. They could press the button now on Jadon Sancho. They've got everything ready. The only reason they'll wait till tomorrow is to sell football kits. And that's their right to do that, because we are a business, not a football club. So, they probably will wait till tomorrow to do it. But they could do it today, is what I'm saying. But a lot of people are saying it'll be tomorrow because of the launch of the kit. So you might have to wait till tomorrow for that one. Sancho Day. It's not the 7th tomorrow, is it? No, it's the 15th. So Real Madrid's second friendly will be against Real Vallecano on Sunday. Okay. Real Madrid are open to selling Varane this summer, and Manchester United know the player would like to join them. That's from The Athletic. And Rafael Varane's agents have told Florentino Perez about the desire for a new challenge, and apparently, Jules Koundé. I was going to mention him. Spurs have had a bid for Koundé accepted, but Jules Koundé has rejected Tottenham and has refused to start any negotiations with the club. I think that was always going to happen. I mean, why is Jules Koundé going to go to Spurs? It's a massive step down, and but I think in relation to, I saw something today about Manchester United being linked to that Romero guy from Atalanta, and I saw some United fans talking about the Koundé thing. For me, these things around backup centre-backs are irrelevant. It's Varane or nothing, isn't it? It really is. Varane wants to come to United. United want Varane. Madrid want to sell Varane. Let's get that deal done, and then we don't talk about centre-backs anymore. It is absolutely irrelevant, isn't it? It's like when you were a kid, or if you are a kid, or maybe you're an adult and you want a PS5, and I want a PS5 for Christmas, please. And it can be your parents, it can be your girlfriend, it can be I want a PS5 for Christmas. Yeah, but I'm looking at an Xbox. I want a PS5. I'm looking at PS4. I want a PS5. But if you don't get a PS5, will you be happy with a PS4? I want a PS5. I want Varane. I don't want Koundé. I don't want Romero. I don't want Pau Torres. I want Varane. And if I don't get Varane now, I'll be very disappointed. So I think speculation about Koundé or anything like that, with all due respect, if Varane wasn't an option, let's have that chat. But I think we're so close to getting Varane done, I don't want to talk about anybody else. Mark, morning. Who do you rate for updates on Premier League English transfers, not just United, but across other teams? I know Here We Go is great for European leagues, says Luke Jones. Well, I think Here We Go is very good for English leagues as well. Hello, Ali. Welcome to the United Stand Members Club, and Rama Priyan as well. Thanks for joining this morning, the Members Club. You can do that by clicking the button. I am spoilt, Hashimi. I am spoilt when it comes to Varane. But, well, look, just watch. If you want to know about credible news outlets, just watch the United Stand News Show every morning at 10 o'clock. Because I've been doing this so long, and I'm sure many of you have been watching it for so long, that we know who the credible outlets are and we know who's not. I don't think anybody's really ever spot on. It's a bit like buying a player, isn't it? If you buy a player, there's not a 100% guarantee that they're going to be a success. I think in my lifetime, every player United have bought, I'd say at maximum 70% of them have done well, 30% flop. And I think it's the same with sports journalism and transfer news. There is no journalist out there that's 100% all the time. And to be 100% all the time, you can't be speculative. Look at Simon Stone with the BBC. He would never come out and say United are 90% close to getting Varane, because his credibility could be rocked if something changes. He will come in at the end and, tap-in merchant, people call them. But there's nothing wrong. That's credibility. Tap-in merchants is credibility, that you don't jump until you're sure. And some journalists are like that. Some of them will guess and say a deal's done 2 weeks before it actually is and stuff like that. So that's what the news show's for. Make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way. So yeah, we're speaking about Rashford. Sancho could be today, but probably tomorrow by the sounds of it. We've spoken about a third significant signing. I'd rather have Ronaldo than Camavinga this window, says Manula. Oh, it's still potentially something could happen with Ronaldo. Not necessarily United, but it still could do. We've spoken about Varane. Let's talk about Jesse Lingard. This is an interesting story, and it's coming from The Athletic, who are a good outlet, The Athletic. They are saying that Manchester United are in a situation with Jesse Lingard, and this is a development of the Lingard story from last night, so this is new news. Manchester United are not willing to sell Jesse Lingard for less than £30 million, and West Ham cannot afford £30 million. Remember, Jesse Lingard's got 1 year left on his contract. I think he's not worth 30 million. I think he's 25 million max. I always thought we'd probably get 20 million for him with 1 year left on his deal. United holding out for 30 million. And here's the rub, here's the divide. Apparently, the hierarchy at Manchester United want to give Lingard a new contract to protect his value, but there are people involved in the coaching staff who think it's time for him to go. And here we are again. Football against business. Business wants to keep him to hold his value. Football side think it's time to go. Who are we going to listen to? It'll be the bloody business side again. The reality is, if the football side are saying cash in on Lingard, it's because they know they don't need him. If the business side are saying let's keep him because we want to keep his value, it's a total lack of knowledge. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Whether it's Lingard or any other player, right? He's been on loan at West Ham. He had, at Christmas, Lingard was probably worth about 10, 15 million because he wasn't playing. He wasn't playing. Why would anybody pay any decent money for him? He goes on loan to West Ham. West Ham boost his value to 20, 25 million. And that's his value now. His peak value is 20 to 25 million because he's been on loan at West Ham and he's done really well. And he's got 1 year left on his deal. So United's hierarchy goes, well, we want 30 million. And if we don't get 30 million, let's give him a new contract and retain his value. But next season, if you give him a 3-year deal, next season, when he's not playing, his value drops from 25 to 15 again. His value is 25 because he's been playing in the Premier League as one of the best players in the Premier League. If you sign him on a new contract and don't play him, his value will drop. So, it makes no sense. The playing side is the relevant point with Lingard. Give him to West Ham for 20 million and say to West Ham, we'll give you Lingard for 20 million. But do us a deal with Declan Rice. Come on. That's what I think United should do. Not a swap deal, but a deal. So that's very interesting because that's coming from The Athletic, that the hierarchy, the board, want to keep Lingard because they want to retain his value. But the playing side are saying now's the time to go. Hopefully Lingard realises that as well. But this probably is an insight into what we were talking about last night. When I show you this image here, this massive squad that United have got, and all those numbers are not young players. All those numbers are senior pros at the club. A mass of them, an absolute mass of them, right? And we wonder why we've got so many. And I think the answer to it is probably somewhere around this Athletic article, which is saying that United want to give Lingard a new contract to retain his value. Absolute clowns. They belong in a circus. Get your big shoes on and your stupid wig, because the reality is, you don't retain the value of a player by just sticking them on a contract instead of selling them. Have we retained Eric Bailly's value? Have we retained Eric Bailly's value? He had 1 year left on his contract and we gave him a new deal. We could have sold Eric Bailly for 20 million this summer. Is he worth any more than 20 million because he's on a long contract? No. He's actually harder to sell because Eric Bailly will say, I've got a 3-year deal on 80 grand a week. That's worth a lot of money to me. So we just don't think things through. We really don't. And I think that I think it's stupid business decision to keep Lingard, says Tabres. And I do. Well, I just think it's it comes down to the same old problem, unfortunately, that we are run by people who treat football like business. And in the banking world, that's what you do. You retain your assets. You remortgage your property and you have security on that asset, but it doesn't work the same for football. Lingard's value is only because he went to West Ham on loan. West Ham have got Lingard's value up, not United. If we don't sell him and we keep him and we use him as a reserve, his value will plummet. Simple as that. Super few people in the chat talking about Calvin Phillips. I've not heard anything about that, but remember we had Romano on the show yesterday and I asked him about Telles to Roma, and he said, not heard anything about that. And then a few hours later, he said that Manchester United there is interest from Roma. They do need a replacement for Spinazzola, who obviously picked up the injury for Italy in the Euros. And they are interested in Alex Telles on a loan. But United don't want to do the deal. But there is interest there. I mean, this would be a bad move. How can you call yourself a businessman but be bad at business, says AJ Flores? Well, yeah, that's United for you. I think they're good bankers. I just don't think they understand football. I think they think if you put a player on a long-term contract, it protects their value. The value of a player is only as good as their last performance. And if they're not playing, their value plummets. Simple as that. Lingard will never be worth as much as he is now, unless we're going to play him as a first-team player, in which case, why would you sell him anyway? So, value of Lingard will never be as much as it is now. Sell him. Simple as that. But the board they're just not wise to that. On Alex Telles to Roma, I know there's people saying, "Oh, let him go," but it's like we were talking about last night, isn't it? If you let Alex Telles go, United are looking for a right winger. They get Sancho. They need a centre back. They get Varane. They want a backup right back for Wan-Bissaka. They're trying to get Trippier. They need a midfielder. They're looking at Camavinga, Rice, etc. You let Telles go, you need a backup left back again. So the problem here, and this is a completely separate problem, but it's one on the list at the end of last season. One of the problems we had last season was the lack of rotation from Solskjaer, the total obsession with using the same 13, 14 players. The problem with that is that you unsettle those players that aren't being played. The Telleses of this world, the Twansebis of this world, the Van der Beeks of this world, the Brandon Williams of this world. They're not content with their gaming time. With their game time. They're not content with their game time because they weren't used much last season. So whilst we sit here as fans and go, we don't want Telles to go because we've got two really good left backs, and if Luke Shaw gets injured, we've got Telles, and we're right, and Ollie probably thinks that as well. Telles is sat there going, well, I do want to go because I'm approaching 30. I'm not playing football. I can't. I'm out of the Brazil squad. I want to play football. I can't have another season where Luke Shaw's playing 3 games a week and I'm sat here on the bench. So it's an ideal situation from United's point of view to have a good backup left back. But if we're not using these players, i.e. rotating the squad sufficiently, they become unsettled. And what you've probably got there is Alex Telles going, I quite fancy Roma. It's first team football in Rome. I'll probably get my Brazil squad back. So I wouldn't be surprised if Telles wants this move. But United are probably saying no. But the problem is, I do sympathise with Telles and Williams and Twansebi for wanting loan moves because they want to play football. The answer to this is that you don't pick Luke Shaw every bloody game and that you actually rotate your squad so that when these players get approached with first team opportunities by Roma, they say, I'm happy at Manchester United. But I think the problem is, I don't think Telles probably is that happy at United because he's not getting any game time. Get to Hyper says, Mark, I love and respect Ollie, but if we get Camavinga and he still plays McFred, I'm going to want him gone. Amit says, morning, Captain Mark. Have you thought of changing the background? Maybe get the 1 million backdrop. That was it. Have a good day. Thanks, Amit. That's a good idea, actually. I'll speak to Drawty about that. After buying a centre-back and a CDM, do people think we need to buy a right-back as competition for Wan-Bissaka? If so, who do we buy? Love the content. Keep up the great work. Mark from Ireland. Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks for the super chats coming in this morning. We do need a backup right-back, but to be honest with you, I would like to see us get this Varane deal finalised. We know Sancho's a United player, and I would then want to get a centre defensive midfielder. I do agree that a backup right back would be good, but I think a lot of us would just go, you know what? You're going to run out of time, right? You're going to run out of time. I still think it's a joke that we've done nothing with the goalkeeping situation. We know we've got to do something with Pogba. We know from this list we were looking at last night, you need to clear 4 or 5 of those lot out. So all that's got to be done. And we need a centre defensive midfielder. And then people want to get a backup right back. I think a backup right back is something that you can just go, all right, it would have been nice, but we'll leave that for now. Not like last summer where we left getting a centre back and a right winger that were essential. But on a backup right back, I would sit there and say we're going to run out of time. There's way more important things than a backup right back. It would be nice to have a backup right back, but there's more important things to do. I would just say Dalot. I would just give Dalot a chance this year. And then if it doesn't work, then next summer go and get a good backup right back. But it feels to me like United are prioritising a backup right back ahead of a midfielder, which is just arse about face to me. Would you consider Delaney as a DM, says Michael? Not really. Good player, but I'm not convinced that... I'm not convinced he's the right sort of profile as a player to come in to United. It's very... what's the word? Quiet on the midfield front. I mean, I've not seen anything about Calvin Phillips. A few people this morning are talking about Calvin Phillips to Manchester United. I'd be very excited about Calvin Phillips coming to Manchester United. It's funny because apparently I don't rate Calvin Phillips, and it was nothing to do with that. I just didn't rate Phillips and Rice as a midfield pair for England. And it's funny actually because I think it was the Telegraph, James Ducker was saying that there was a lot of surprise in the England amongst the England playing squad about how little Marcus Rashford's game time was during the Euros, when apparently he was fantastic in training. And I'm not surprised by that if it's true, because Jack Grealish actually did play a little bit in the Euros, and every time he played he looked like he could have been one of the players of the tournament, yet still he'd be back on the bench the next game. So I think Southgate's a defensive coach, and that's why England didn't win the Euros. But that was my problem with Phillips. Phillips and Rice was like a better version of McTominay and Fred. Like, they just sat there in front of the back four, protecting the back four, with not really much going on going forward. But I wouldn't mind either of them two sat in front of our back four defending it on their own. I wouldn't want, you know, if someone said you can have Rice and Phillips, I'd say forget about it. I don't want a pimped up version of McFred. I just want one of them. And I think Calvin Phillips in front of our back four would be infinitely better than anything that we've got. Matic can't do it anymore, and Fred and McTominay will never be able to do it. So I would take Calvin Phillips as our CDM. Imagine Calvin Phillips there with Donny or Pogba next to him and then Bruno. I think that would work really, really well. He's energetic, he's good on the ball, and he's developed his game superbly under Bielsa. I just didn't like him in the midfield too because it's too defensive. Morning, Mark. Have you heard anything about what time we can expect the Sancho 7 announcement today? Says Joshua Bellwater. Well, I've got my T-shirt on, so I'm hoping it's going to be today. But I have been told by, you know, good people that it's going to be tomorrow. I think it could be today, but it's going to be today or tomorrow. The reason for tomorrow is because of the new kit. It's totally cynical. It can be today. He's done everything. In fact, I'm not even sure Sancho is in Manchester anymore. I think he might be on holiday now, because he's done his medical, he's done his interview, he's done his promo video. Everything is ready to go. It's like a YouTube pre-record. You're just waiting to put it out whenever you want to put it out. So it's all ready to go. They just need to schedule it. Now, Man United have done a lot of... I think Sanchez was at 6 o'clock. I think Bruno was around 6 o'clock as well. So Manchester United can announce this deal. Or maybe it was Diallo that was around 6 o'clock. We do seem to do deals around 6 o'clock. So it could be 6 o'clock today. But as I said, a lot of people are telling me it's tomorrow because of the kit. So we'll see about that. Zach says, heard anything about Grealish? Mate, I think I'd love Jack Grealish to come to Manchester United. But no. 5 p.m. it was for Sanchez, said Jamie. Yeah, which is 5 hours ahead of the New York Stock Exchange. People always start mentioning the New York Stock Exchange, don't they? And it doesn't always work like that. Well, why can Williams be a right back at United? Because he gets caught on his heels tracking back. Williams needs to go on loan, I think, for definite. Does Sancho get to play on the Does Sancho get to play on the 18th of July, Mark? Says Ibrahim. No, good question, Ibrahim, actually, because Jadon Sancho's debut for Manchester United will probably be our last pre-season game, which I think is it Everton, our last pre-season game, which is the week before we play Leeds. So Sancho, well, Rashford's irrelevant now because he won't even be back for pre-season because he's going to have the operation. But Sancho, Shaw and Maguire will not be back in training for Manchester United until the first week of August. They'll get 3 weeks off, which they totally deserve. Totally deserve it. So not a problem with that. Some people have said, why does Sancho need 3 weeks off? He hardly played for England. And I'm just like, oh my God, engage your brain. Put it in gear and think this through. Just because Sancho did play 90 minutes against Ukraine as well, but he's been part of a squad that's been training every day for a month. And, you know, just because you don't play the games doesn't mean that you don't need a rest. He needs a rest. So 3 weeks. Do you like the new kit? Says Buster. I'm not going anywhere near the new kit, and I'm not telling people not to buy the new kit because that's not my position to do that. But I'm not going anywhere near any new kit because I don't believe in this ownership, and I don't believe they've done anywhere near enough to change my mood over the last 16 years, and certainly what they tried to do with the Super League and what was happening at the end of last season. Signing Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane is not going to be enough for me and many other fans to go, wow, the Glazers have changed. Let's put money in their pocket with buying shirts. So I'm not going to do it, but it's a personal choice. And if you want to do it, and I'm sure a lot of you will do, then you can. I personally don't like the home kit. I think it reminds me a lot, and I haven't got it to hand, of the United Stand kit that we had 3 years ago. Apart from they've got a round neck and we had a V-neck. It looks very cheap, but that's Adidas. That kit looks like something you'd get from an Adidas catalogue for your Sunday team. But I don't tend to like United kits anyway, and they grow on you because you see them worn more often. But I think Adidas do their best kits for Bayern Munich because they're a German outlet, aren't they? I don't like our kits. In the main, I've been disappointed with Adidas because I loved the Adidas kits of the mid-80s with United. They were fantastic. I loved the third kit that we had, like the royal blue. I think a lot of that was probably to do with Sharp. But I liked the V-neck. I just liked the whole kit looked classy. I'm not a big fan of Adidas kits. I think some of the away kits have been nice, but not the home kits. But look, loads of people are going to buy the kit, and that's why they're launching it with Sancho. They're not stupid. Hello, Mark. Good morning. What do you think about buying Rice? For me, it's so annoying. You, why? Because he's going to be another Jones. What do you think about us buying Rice? For me, it's so... Well, Olivia, we're not going to buy Rice. I think it's a very hard deal to do, but I think he's a very good player, Declan Rice, and I think he'd be a very good asset for Manchester United. I'm not going to change my mind just because people think not, but it's all about opinion. Ben Anderson says, how ironic would it be to give contracts out to the Deadwood, yet let one of your best players leave for free twice? That's good business for you, says Ben Anderson, talking about Pogba, yeah. Mark, do you think if we get Varane and no CDM, he will only play one of McFred because we don't need to protect the back four as much, says Rory Saunders. I think it's a good tactical point, Rory, and I like those sort of conversations. But, I mean, look at England. England had a very good back four. They had one of the best left backs in the tournament. They had one of the best right backs in the tournament. They had the best left-sided centre-back in the tournament, and John Stones was decent. We had a really strong back four, but Southgate still played two holding midfielders. And yeah, look, in certain games, Phillips had licence to get forward, which is why we scored against Croatia. But again, in the bigger games, they didn't. They just sat there. So Ollie might still play McTominay and Fred and get them to sit in front of the back four, even though we don't need that. So, I don't know. Apparently, even Williams' loan is apparently off now, says Ram. But you know what? These players need to... force these loan moves themselves. If I'm Brandon Williams and I'm being told by Ollie that, I'm not loaning you now because I'm going to use you more, I'd say, but you didn't use me last season, did you? You didn't use me last season. So why would why should I trust you to use me this year? And to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't think Brandon Williams is the answer as a backup right back to Aaron Wan-Bissaka to really push him. And that's why I think a lot of us were open to a Trippier or a Delot or a Max Aarons or something like that they come in the club and Wan-Bissaka has to think, oh shit, I might get pushed here. But I don't think Brandon Williams is going to push Wan-Bissaka out of the team. And that's why I think Brandon Williams needs to go on loan to Southampton or Newcastle and develop himself. Because I think he got thrown in on the left back situation for a few months and then sort of disappeared. I don't think he can push Wan-Bissaka out of the team. So I think that he should go on loan. But we hear this with United all the time. There's a massive amount of deadwood at the squad. And look, of all those players there, Brandon Williams isn't one of those. Amad Diallo's not one of those. There's no young players there. Out of all those players, which are our current squad members, and Lindelof's missing as well, so there's another one, and Dean Henderson's missing, so there's another one. There's two players not there that should be there. There's no Amad Diallo. There's no Brandon Williams. Like, none of the young players are there. That is huge. That squad is... It makes you want to throw up. It's too big. Way too big. So all these players that are thinking, oh, I'm going to stay at United, maybe have a look at that graphic and think, how are you going to get game time? Rename Matic to Static because he barely moves anymore, says Mason Reed. The new buying away kit is class, says Ram. I think most buying kits are absolutely fantastic. I think Adidas must spend 8 months of the year doing Bayern Munich kits and then the last 5 minutes doing United home kits. Amit says, apparently Leeds are still interested in Dan James. How about giving getting Kelvin for Dan? Do you think Kelvin wants to play for Manchester United coming from Leeds, says Amit? I don't know. I don't really understand that. The rivalry between Manchester United and Leeds is huge, especially on the Leeds side. Alan Smith played for Manchester United, but I think Leeds had been relegated at that point. So I don't know. I personally think he might not want to come to United because of the Leeds connection, but some people seem to think that won't be a problem. So we'd have to see. On Dan James, I think, and I have to say Ollie because Ollie's the manager, but obviously the coaching network is more than Ollie. I think United get scared about injury crisis. We didn't let Brandon Williams go on loan in January and we never used him. Why was that? What if we get an injury to Wan-Bissaka? And I think now that Rashford's injured, I wonder if we better give Jesse a new contract and keep Dan Jamesy. I just wonder whether those things are going to happen because Rashford's got an injury. Let's keep Jamesy. Let's keep Lingy. We seem scared to move players on, and when you're scared to move players on, you end up with that. A mass of senior players that you don't need. I mean, they're all senior players, and 7 of them could come out of there, and we'd still have a big squad. But we seem to be scared to move people on for some reason, and I don't know why. Anyway, look, let's see what happens. Could it be Jadon Sancho Day? We'll see. I think if it is going to be Jadon Sancho Day, they'll do it late afternoon. But a lot of people are saying it's going to be tomorrow for Sancho, so let's wait and see. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Thanks everyone who's become a member today as well. You can do that by clicking the join button and you get your badge next to your name like Wildcat has got there. And do subscribe, bottom right hand corner, because when we go live, you need to get your notifications. So click the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner, tick the get all notifications, and away we go. But yeah, Rashford injury is not good news, but I think long term it's good news for the fans, for Rashford and the club. He needs that rest, and I want 100% Rashford, not a 75%. Koundé rejecting Spurs is not breaking news, Jonathan. It's just reality. Who wouldn't reject Spurs if they're ambitious at the moment? Varane's looking very, very good. Lingard, apparently the board want to keep him, but the playing side are saying it's time to move on. The board will get the final say on that because they're clueless. And Tellez to Roma is something Roma want to do as well, apparently. So let's see what happens. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. And happy birthday to Denzel. He says it's my birthday, Mark. Happy birthday to Denzel, everybody. Speak to you all in a bit.